In previous we talked about Darius the Great and his rise and glory. Now let's continue with his son Xerxes. Xerxes and wars with Greeks. Under Xerxes, the son of Darius the Great, the Achaemenid Empire reached both its height in ambition and one of its most dramatic struggles. Xerxes inherited not only the vast empire but also his father's unfinished war with the Greeks. Darius had sought to punish Athens and its allies for their support of the Ionian revolt, but after his defeat at Marathon, the task fell to his son. Xerxes prepared on a scale that stunned the ancient world. He gathered soldiers from across the empire, from Egypt to India, from Babylon to Anatolia. It is said his army numbered in the hundreds of thousands, and his fleet was one of the largest ever assembled in antiquity. Crossing into Greece required a daring feat of engineering. Xerxes ordered the construction of a massive pontoon bridge across the Hellespont, linking Asia to Europe. He also had canals cut through the peninsula of Mount Athos to allow his fleet safe passage. These efforts showed both his power and determination, but also the vast logistical challenge of leading such a massive force. The campaign began in 480 BCE. The Greeks, though divided, united against the Persian invasion. At Thermopylae, a narrow pass became the stage for one of history's most famous last stands. King Leonidas of Sparta and a small band of warriors held the Persians at bay for days, sacrificing themselves to buy time for the Greek cities. Though Xerxes eventually broke through and advanced, the resistance at Thermopylae became legendary. Afterward, Xerxes marched on Athens, which had been abandoned by its citizens. His army burned the city, fulfilling part of his father's vengeance. Yet the real test came at sea. At Salamis, the smaller Greek fleet, using cunning tactics and knowledge of the narrow waters, trapped and destroyed much of the Persian navy. This was the turning point. Without naval superiority, Xerxes could not maintain his army deep in hostile territory. Xerxes withdrew to Asia, leaving a portion of his forces behind, which were eventually defeated at Plataea and Mycale in 479 BCE. The great expedition, though nearly overwhelming Greece, ended in failure. Despite this setback, the Achaemenid Empire remained vast and powerful under Xerxes, but his reputation was scarred by the defeat. In the Greek world, the war became a defining moment, the triumph of a small, divided people against the greatest empire of their age. For Persia, it was a reminder that even its immense power had limits. After the death of Xerxes, the Persian Empire entered a period of instability and slow decline. Xerxes' son, Artaxerxes, inherited the throne and faced immediate challenges. Revolts broke out in Egypt, and the rising power of Athens interfered in Persian affairs. Although Artaxerxes managed to restore order and eventually forced peace with the Greeks, the unity and strength of the empire had already begun to weaken. After him came a series of short and violent reigns. Xerxes II ruled only for a few weeks before being murdered. His killer, Sogdianus, was in turn killed by Darius II. This pattern of court intrigues and assassinations became a defining feature of the later Achaemenid dynasty. Darius II ruled for almost 2 decades, but his reign was marred by corruption, revolts, and increasing dependence on influential court figures. Artaxerxes II succeeded him and became one of the longest-reigning kings, but his time on the throne was full of struggles. He faced constant wars with Sparta, then with Thebes and endless uprisings in Asia Minor and Egypt. The empire, though vast, was losing its grip as Greek influence spread deeper into Persian-controlled lands. Artaxerxes III tried to restore strength with harsh measures. He reconquered Egypt and reasserted Persian authority, but his reign ended with his assassination, a fate shared by many of his successors. By the time Darius III took the throne, the empire was deeply fractured. Nobles and satraps acted with increasing independence, and the royal court was consumed by intrigue. It was in this weakened state that Persia faced its greatest challenge, the invasion of Alexander the Great. In a series of swift campaigns, Alexander defeated Darius' armies, captured the empire's capitals, and finally brought an end to over 2 centuries of Achaemenid rule. The once mighty Persian Empire, built by Cyrus and expanded by Darius and Xerxes, collapsed under the weight of internal decay and external pressure. Yet, its legacy lived on, Its system of administration, culture, and traditions continued to influence the world long after the empire itself had fallen.